Hi, fourth years. I'm going to go through the corrections of the homework that I assigned you yesterday. Now, they were all pretty much the same kind of question, so I'm not going to go through every single part. I'm just going to do the last part of each question. But if there was something you were stuck on that I haven't corrected, just let me know and I'll upload corrections of that. So to begin with, on page 51, you had question 1, A, B, and C only. And I'm just going to do part 3 of each of those. You were asked to solve these by factorizing. So the factors of this are x minus 5x plus 1. That comes from two numbers that will add to give me a negative 4 and multiply to give me a negative 5. So I know the signs must be opposite. Then those are my factors, and using them to solve, I can say that either x minus 5 is equal to 0, because when two things multiply to give you 0, one of them must be 0. So then x is equal to 5. Or x plus 1 is equal to 0, in which case x is equal to minus 1. Bringing those numbers over to the other side. Okay, B part 3. We're solving 3x squared minus 13x minus 10 equal to 0, and we need to use the guide number method. So we're looking for something that will add to give me minus 13 and multiply to give me minus 30. Now, at first glance, you might think 3 and 10, but if it multiplies to give me a minus, I need to have a plus and a minus. So it's actually plus 2x and minus 15x. So just be really careful of the signs there. The signs must be opposite when it multiplies to give me a negative. And then the minus 10 comes down, and 3x squared as well. Then I factorize by grouping. All I can take out here is an x squared, leaving me with 3x plus 2. A minus 5 here leaves me with 3x plus 2. It changes the signs inside the bracket there. And my final factors are 3x plus 2. I keep doing that. It's not an x squared, of course, just a single x. And x minus 5. So then solving those, either 3x plus 2 is equal to 0, in which case 3x is minus 2 and x is minus 2/3, or x minus 5 is equal to 0, in which case x is equal to 5. Those are my solutions. C part 3. We have 8x squared minus 2x minus 15 equal to 0. Multiply to get my guide number, and 8 by minus 15, it's important that we keep the sign, is minus 120. Now, I'm looking for two numbers that will add to give me a minus 2 and multiply to give me a minus 120. So this one is slightly less straightforward. I know that the two numbers must be close together. Excuse me. 12 and 10, I can actually see it now. So a minus 12 by a plus 10 multiplies to give me that, and minus 12 plus 10 adds to give me minus 2. So instead of minus 2x here, I will have minus 12x plus 10x minus 15 and 8x squared. Careful now, come off the screen. And so I can factorize by grouping. 4x is my common factor, leaving me with 2x minus 3, plus 5 is my common factor here, leaving me with 2x minus 3. 2x minus 3, 4x minus 5 are my factors. So then either 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, in which case x is equal to 3 over 2. You can do this in 2 steps if you want. Hopefully you're starting to speed up now. Or 4x minus 5 is equal to 0, in which case x is equal to 5 over 4. You can write these as decimals, 1.5 and 1.2, but there's no need to. Once you have them as fractions, you can just leave them like that. Excuse me. Now, the next question then was question 2. And in question 2, you were asked to use the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula, of course, is the minus b formula. And that is that when we have a quadratic in the standard form, the roots of it can be found by x equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you don't know your quadratic formula off yet, you should get into the habit of writing it down every time until you know it. I know it's on the front of the log tables, but you're a lot quicker with things like this if you do learn them off. We'll look at question 2a, part 3. 2x squared minus 6x plus 3 equal to 0. And my a, b, and c are just here because it's in the standardized format that we want. So x is equal to minus b, minus a minus 6 is plus 6, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. As I said yesterday, you can solve this whatever way you're used to, but I would strongly recommend that you just type this part into your calculator in one go. So we've got the square root of minus 6 squared minus 4 by 2 by 3. And then we get 2 root 3. So that's 2 root 3. And we can rewrite this as x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 4. Work out our plus value, work out our minus value, and we'll get our two answers. So x is 6 plus 2 root 3 over 4. That's one answer. And they asked for this to, just double check, one decimal place. So I can't leave it like this. Change it to a decimal, 2.4. This is 2.4. And just use my arrows to come back and change that plus to a minus. And we have 0.63. 0.63. And those are my two answers. Hopefully this has been very straightforward for everybody, but do let me know if there was something that you got stuck on. I'll do B part 3 as well. We're solving 2x squared plus 4x minus 5 equal to 0. So again, A, B, and C. You don't have to write it above it, but it does help keep you organized if you do that. So x is going to be minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You can see that having learned off the formula, I can fill it in without even looking at it. I don't have to think about it. Then we're going to put this part into our calculator in one go. Sorry if that's loud. So we've got the square root of 4 squared minus 4 by 2 by minus, careful there, by minus 5, and that is 2 root 14. I won't change it to a decimal at this point. I'll always do that on the final step. So x is minus 4 plus or minus 2 root 14 all over 4. I'm going to work out the plus value. I'm going to work out the minus value and get my two values for x. So x is negative 4 plus 2 root 14 over 4, which gives me 0.87. It's one of my answers. Or it's exactly the same thing with a minus here instead. Minus 2.87. Now, I didn't obey my instructions, did I? They said to 1 decimal place. So I need to go and check that I've answered the question as I was asked for. 2.4, 0.6, 0.9, and minus 2.9. I will lose a mark on each of those questions if I don't write it in the format that they asked for. Okay, and now let's look at question 3. And question 3 was the same thing again, except this time they want us to do it in surd form. So question 3A, part 3, we're solving 2x minus 3 squared equals 8. There's 2 ways of doing this question, but let's do it the obvious way. And if you did it another way, if you square rooted both sides, if you take the square root of both sides, you have to introduce a plus or minus yourself. So if you did that, that would be fine. Just note it to the side. But there's a shortcut way of doing this, where you say 2x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 8 and solve it from there. You'll see that this comes up later when we use the minus b formula. So we are going to do this by formula. And first we're going to square out the brackets. We have a shortcut for squaring out. We square the first, 4x squared, square the last, plus 9, and double their product, minus 6x, and double it, minus 12x. Bring the 8 over because I need my quadratic to be in the form x squared, x, and a constant before I can use my quadratic formula. So we've got a, b, c. And I fill into the quadratic formula that x is equal to minus b, minus a minus 12 is plus 12, plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We'll type this part into our calculator in one go. So we have the square root of 12 squared minus 4 by 4 by 1, and we've got 8 root 2 there. So that's 12 plus or minus 8 root 2 all over 8, the plus value, the minus value, x is equal to what? And they've asked us to leave our answer in surd form. But the great thing is the calculator can do all the heavy lifting for us here. So this is not fully simplified. If I type in 12 plus 8 root 2 over 8, the calculator will simplify it to 3 plus 2 root 2 over 2. And it's fine to leave it like that. 3 plus 2 root 2 over 2, or it's the same thing and we just put in a minus in the middle. You can verify it in the calculator. 3 minus 2 root 2 over 2. Now, in the back of the book, they may have written this as 3 over 2 plus root 2 and 3 over 2 minus root 2, dividing the 2 in and splitting up the fraction. But you will get full marks for this. So if you don't understand where that came from, that's the 2 dividing into each part of the fraction. And 3b, part 3. We're trying to solve x squared minus x minus 1 equal to 0. And there's my a, b, c. So x is going to be minus b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And what they're checking here is that you can handle when the coefficient isn't written in explicitly. We put that into the calculator, we get the square root of 5. So we have the square root of 1 squared minus 4 by 1 by a negative 1. And that gives me the square root of 5. So x is going to be 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. My plus answer, my minus answer is just like that. That's not going to simplify even when you put it into the calculator. 1 plus root 5 over 2 and 1 minus root 5 over 2. Those are our two answers. Okay, so that was everything of the homework, and you might just let me know if there was something you didn't understand. Or if there was a part that I didn't go through that you'd like me to, let me know that as well. Thank you.